Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for this 500 subscriber celebration hop for Christine over at Powder Crafts. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this card, and there will be more information on the hop a little bit later. I'm going to start with this stamp set from Simon Says Stamps called Look for the Rainbows, and I'm going to be using the big flower here. And I'm starting with a piece of craft cardstock for my panel. It's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I just put my stamp on an acrylic block so I can do some quick stamping. And I'm going to be using my super dusty Versamark ink for this because I'm going to emboss this. So first I realized I needed to get my powder bag, which, I always seem to forget to do. But luckily I remembered this time, and I'm going to heavily douse my panel with the powder here, anti-static tool powder, so that kind of the embossing doesn't stick where it's not supposed to. And I'm just going to line this up and stamp it where I want it. This is going to be like kind of my centerpiece flower. So I'm going to do it right in the middle. I decided to do it off to the left a little bit because I'm going to do my sentiment in the bottom right corner there. I'm going to push this down really well so that everything sticks because I can't restamp it. And then I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper that I just folded in half. I can use this for all my embossing. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder. I really love the look of gold on craft. I think it's really pretty. I'm just going to pour that all over where I stamped. And then kind of flick it off as best I can. And I'm just going to dump that back in to the jar. That's where that fold comes in really handy. And after my heat tool was heating up for a good minute, I'm going to bring it to the panel here and melt this embossing powder. And here I've made a mask out of masking paper for the large flower because I'm going to do some stamping around it. So I'm just going to place that on there. And the masking paper I use is from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to keep going with the Versamark because it leaves a really nice watermark effect, which I really love to do on craft. I think it looks really pretty. You can kind of see it there. And I'm just going to go around this card panel and do like some kind of random placings of the flowers so they look a little bit different and give it a nice pattern. I hope everyone is staying safe and well during these times. It's kind of crazy. My state's actually going into phase 1 of reopening, which is really nice because we've had a case decrease for 2 weeks now. So hopefully that goes well. We will see. So I'm just kind of filling in a little bit of blank spots here. And then I'm going to remove the mask. And I'm going to do some coloring with colored pencils. Colored pencils I don't use very often. The only time I really use them is on craft because I think it looks really nice. I personally find colored pencils really painstaking to use. It just takes a lot longer than other mediums. Because you have to kind of like blend it to get rid of your stroke marks because the pencil tip is so small. But the method I use when I color pencil is I go one direction and then I crosshatch to blend. So I'll go back over it in the opposite direction. And it works pretty well for large surfaces. It does look nice and blended, and it doesn't leave any type of super obvious lines. So I colored in all the petals with the lightest purple, and then I'm doing the center with yellow and just putting some dots with an orange to kind of give it some depth. And then I'm going to go in with my shadow color here, which is just a darker purple. I went a little heavy-handed because I was trying to go fast, but I just following the lines that are already there from the stamp and placing in shadows where I think they would be. So there's that. I love that purple. It's really pretty. This final card is definitely one of my favorites. So I'm just taking a scrap black piece of paper that I had in my stash, and I'm gonna do the sentiment. So I'm using this stamp set from Letter It from Ranger, and it's like got celebratory sentiments on it. And I'm taking the congrats, and I'm going to use my Misty just in case I have to stamp a second time. I'm going to heavily douse it in my powder bag. I'm going to pick up that stamp, and I'm going to stamp it in Versamark so that I can do some embossing again. I think luckily I only had to do it once. And then I'm just going to move my Misty off to the side, and I'm going to do the same method I did before with the gold, but this time using Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder, which is definitely my favorite. It's my favorite white. It's super fine, and it's really, really good for small sentiments. And I'm going to fold that up and put it back into the jar like I did before. And I use the same one for every color. I just clean it off really, really well. And then I'm going in with my heat gun again and melting that powder. I'm going to take my Cutter B scissors and fussy cut out the sentiment, and I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape to give it some nice dimension on the card since the panel is completely flat. And I'm at the end of my roll, so I had to kind of cut up a lot to get it to fit in there. But yeah, I'm just placing that in the bottom right corner because I thought that's where it looked the best. And I just press that down to make sure it sticks. And I'm going to use some double-sided tape here to attach my panel to my card base. I'm just going to put it around all four sides. And the card base I'm using is a top folding A2 size card. So it's the same dimensions, 5.5 by 4.25. It just folds at the top instead of the side. You can see that there. So I'm just going to place that on. And then I'm going to start, after I do this, I'm going to start making a little note for the inside of my card in honor of this video. So this video is a part of a hop. It's a 500 subscriber celebration for Christine over at Patter Crafts. She does have a YouTube channel, so I will be linking that down below so you guys can go check her out. Because this is a hop, I am also going to be linking to the next person that you can go visit. So please see my description box below for that information. I think these celebrations are really awesome because it's a huge milestone. It is really, really hard to get up there, honestly. Paper crafting is a pretty small niche. So I think it's pretty amazing when a fellow crafter reaches such a high goal. So there's my card, and there's going to be a giveaway. So there's going to be a $50 gift code to Scrapping for Less, which is a really awesome craft store. Leave a comment down below by May 23rd. The more you hop along and leave comments, the better chances you have of winning. Thanks for watching, guys.